This channel wouldn't be possible without the support from you guys. And if you're looking for an easy way to help support the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And another easy way to help out the channel is by supporting me directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and the best way to help grow this channel is with the help of you guys. Before we start, this video is sponsored by Collect Edition. They have a huge commander inventory and worldwide shipping. Check them out with the link in the description. When you are with me, I'm free, I'm careless, I believe, above all others will fly. This brings tears to my eyes, my sacrifice. Hey, it's your boy Silver Wolf, man. What an amazing song by Negan the Cold-Blooded. What are you, a lizard? We have yet another Mardu commander. What is this, the Year of the Monkey? We had Glenn, our enchantment-based control deck, but now we're going to the roots of all evil, the roots of Mardu, Aristocats. Meow.
Was the joke that bad?
Negan the Cold-Blooded. He's a 5-mana 4/3 human rogue. When Negan enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each secretly choose a creature that player controls. Ooh, sneaky sneaky. Then those choices are revealed, and that player sacrifices those creatures. Pretty good. And whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature, you create a treasure token.
That's pretty good.
Don't seem like much, but boy, we can do some crazy shit with this. With enough creatures on the board and all our mass sacrifice spells, we can chain them together and create a shitload of treasures. First off, we'll look at blinks and sacrifices. Then our treasure cards and win con. Simple as that. All the while I go through the details on the sweet synergies we can pull off with the right cards.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
First off, for our recipe, we got fresh blinks and tasty sacrifices. See, the thing with Negan is that he does a bit of everything, kinda like a chameleon, cause he's cold-blooded. Get it? He enters the battlefield and boom, acts as removal and ramps at the same time by creating treasures. So flickering him is pretty tasty, on and on.
You are fucked.
We got our usual suspects in Conjurer's Closet, should have called it Conjurer's Gate, looks nothing like a closet, whatever. You can't host a nice party without putting on the helm of the host, because what's better than Negan? 7 Negans. And what do we call 7 Negans? 7 Negan. So dumb. From the Lion King Secret Lair, we got Ephemerate. It's a 1-mana instant, exile target creature controlled and return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Rebound. I mean, pay 1, blink Negan, destroy a creature, create a token, do it again on your next upkeep. No brainer. Eerie Interlude. Similar, but not really. Cost 3, exile any number of target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Similar, but not the same. The same, but not similar. Exactly the same, to be honest, but with differences. And even with differences, they are quite similar.
Okay.
Eldrazi Displacer flickers a creature for 3 mana at instant speed, or we could say he displaces a creature, am I right?
I ain't doing shit.
Now for some sacrifice. Shenanigan, halakalamalesh.
Your mother sing that to you?
We got a couple of new cards in Eradicator Valkyrie. It's a 4-mana 4/3 flying lifelink hexproof from Planeswalker. Boast, pay 2, sacrifice a creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker, and you can boast if this creature has attacked this turn. We play a couple of token makers in here to make sure we always have stuff to sacrifice as well. Plus, you pay 2 mana to boast, each player sacrifices a creature, and with Negan out, you create 3 treasures. Negan pays for your bills, plus an extra treasure. Negan more like Jesus, am I right? Okay. Turgrid, God of Fright. Ooh, it's a 5-mana 4/5 menace god. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
They're all mine now.
We are never going to play the flip side of this because we want the freaking OP side of the creature. With all the sacrificing we'll be doing, ooh, much fright. She can win the game by herself if not dealt with. Ooh, very frightening. Next up, we have Kalitas and Gravepack. Kalitas is a 4-mana 3/4 lifelink vampire warrior. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Pay 3, sacrifice another vampire or zombie, put 2+1/+1 counters on Kalitas, Traitor of Get. And Grave Pack, well, whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So if we have Negan in play, listen to this. Pay 3 mana to sacrifice another vampire or zombie to put 2+1/+1 counters on Kalitas. That triggers the Grave Pack. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. And that triggers Kalitas, so you put 3 zombies into play. The Grave Pack also triggers Negan, and you create 3 treasures. Use the 3 treasures to activate Kalitas and sacrifice one of the zombies you just made to put 2+1/+1 counters on Kalitas. That triggers the Grave Pack. Each opponent sacrifices a creature, and that triggers Kalitas, so you put 3 zombies into play. The Grave Pack also triggers Negan, and you create 3 treasures. See where I'm going with this? You understand?
Anybody?
Clear your opponent's board as long as they have creatures. If you're asking for multiple combats for Christmas, boy, you're only getting one single combat. Single combat. It's a 5 mana sorcery. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control, then sacrifices the rest. Players can't cast creature spells or planeswalker spells until the end of your next turn. So with Negan out, you get to create a shitload of treasures depending on the board state, and that's the kind of powerhouse of the deck. Pay mana, making people sacrifice creatures, creating more treasures, casting more spells, a value for days.
Necrotic.
It's a 7 mana sorcery. Each player sacrifices 6 creatures. Okay, you create 6 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Cost 7 mana, yeah, but with enough creatures out, Negan is gonna give you a lot of treasures. Starting to see the power level of this deck yet.
You really want to piss me off.
Cataclysmic Gearhulk. It's a 5 mana 4/5 construct of vigilance. When Cataclysmic Gearhulk enters the battlefield, each player chooses an artifact, creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents he or she controls, then sacrifices the rest. My sacrifice! Once again, cleaning the board and shitting out a lot of treasures with Negan. Oh, what is this, Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, hi, is Snapdax here? I have his Mythos of Snapdax.
Hey, this one's original. Each player chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, and sacrifice the rest. If you played a black and a red to pay this mana cost, you choose the permanents for each player instead. Yeah, maybe I forgot to say this deck was a bit salty. Your opponents probably won't be keeping their creatures for long, and that's fine, because f*** him!
I can't allow that.
Hey, what's versatile and rhymes with versatile? Kaya's Guile. It's a 3 mana instant. Choose 2. Wow, so generous. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard. Create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying, or you gain 4 life. Entwine. I never had the chance to play this card, but it found a home in this deck. Welcome, Kaya's Guile. The name of the next card is based on your opponent's feeling after playing their 3rd game against this deck.
Yeah, boy.
Soul Shatter. It's a 3 mana instant. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So you pay 3 mana to cast this, and then you get 3 treasures from Negan. Life sure ain't fair.
Crackling a Doom.
It's a 3 mana instant. Crackling Doom deals 2 damage to each opponent. Oh my god. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures that player controls. But bro, the 2 damage to each opponent, bro, is like a real deal breaker here, dude. I mean, like 2 damage, dude, that's pretty insane. I mean,
Oh my goodness!
it's a lot more than 1 damage, dude. That's pretty bonkers. I never realized how hungry Vona was until I saw this card, Vona's Hunger. It's a 3 mana instant, Ascend. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Wow, that's pretty cool. If you have the city's blessing, instead each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls. Round it up. For 3 mana, what the hell, this is a late game bomb that's gonna give you a lot of treasures. Now, what card is really bonkers with all this sacrificing? Harvester of Souls lets you draw a card each time a non-token creature dies. So with Negan and Harvester of Souls out, play a Playcrafter, each player sacrifices a creature, you draw 3 cards and you create 3 treasures. Oh, you just happen to draw your Merciless Executioner? Use your 3 mana to play it, each player sacrifices a creature, you draw 3 cards and you create 3 treasures. Oh, you just happen to draw your Fleshbag Marauder? Use your 3 treasures to play it, each player sacrifices a creature, you draw 3 cards and you create 3 treasures. Oh, you just happen to draw any other 3 mana sacrifice spell we previously mentioned in this deck? So you get the jizz, we be rolling as long as your opponents have creatures. Dwayne Johnson would be proud.
Where were we?
Hey, my boy, Rankle Master of Planks. He's a 4 mana 3/3 Flying Haste Fairy Rogue. Whenever Rankle Master of Planks deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card. Each player sacrifices a creature. I always love this card and it fits perfectly in this deck. Create 3 treasures each turn as long as your opponents have creatures to sacrifice, plus the discard ability is nothing to Grizzlebrand about. Rankle can empty hands really fast, making him really annoying, and that's why we play him.
You suck ass.
And of course, Butcher of Malakir and Dictate of Erebos forces opponents to sacrifice a creature each time a creature you control dies. Double up on that sacrificing. And Mayhem Devil. 3 mana 3/3, whenever player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. I don't need to explain how stupid this card can get in this deck. Start shooting your opponent's faces because they don't have any creatures to kill anyways. Clack Bridge Troll, this freaking card. It's a 5 mana 8/8 trample haste. When Clack Bridge Troll enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 3/0/1 white goat creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, any opponent may sacrifice a creature. If a player does, tap Clack Bridge Troll, you gain 3 life and you draw a card. So either we attack with an 8/8 trample haste, or we gain 3 life, draw a card, and if we have Negan out, we create a treasure that really butters my egg roll. Whoa, Strider, 3 mana 3/2. When Woe Strider enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. What's the deal with goats and Theros, right? Sacrifice another creature, scry 1, escape for 5. We don't run a lot of single target sack outlets in this deck, but the Woe is just too good to pass on. Sack outlet, check. Scrying, check. Goat, blah! Luminous Broodmoth. It's a 4 mana 3/4 flying insect. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. Hey, what better way to keep all our creatures we'll be sacking and bring them back with flying? I got to see this in action in my Nethroi Brawl deck, and boy oh boy, the power level is real. And my favorite planeswalker ever, Liliana Dreadhorde General. She's a 6 mana, comes into play with 6 loyalty counters. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. +1, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures. -9, you win the game. Does everything you want to do. Draws, creates tokens, sacrifices stuff, and the ult is just, well, you win the game. What more can you ask for on your pizza? Now for some treasure fun. Negan is not enough, we need more treasures. Dockside Extortionist. You can't say where the road goes when the day comes, only time. Hey, here's a new one, Gold Member Dragon. He's a 5 mana 4/4 flying haste. Just that's pretty good. Whenever Gold Span Dragon attacks or becomes a target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. Huh? What the fuck?
Excuse the shit out of my goddamn French.
Creates treasures and doubles the mana of your treasures? What is this, Star Wars Battlefront 2? Brass Bounty creates a treasure for each land you control.
And I'm betting there's even more.
So yeah, that's pretty stupid with Goldspan Dragon. If you have 7 lands, create 7 treasures that give you 14 mana. Seriously, I don't know what to say anymore. This is just stupid. Oh, you can have the treasure deck without the smothering TTs, huh? Oh, I love the TTs. Revel in Riches is awesome. It's a 5 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, create a treasure. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. Even without the integrated win con, this card is amazing. But you can bet your ass we'll have enough treasures to win the game with this. Kite Tyrant, 6 mana, 6/5 flying trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, gain control of all artifacts that player control. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. I played this in my Brea deck, but never thought I could actually make use of the second ability. But with all the treasures you'll be making in this deck, my, very good. Next up, Gadrak the Crown Scorch. Hey Gadrak, can you be any more generic as that? He's a 3 mana, 5/4 flying. Gadrak the Crown Scorch can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. Another one that's bonkers in this deck. Play any sacrifice spell and you create 3 treasures at the end of your turn. Create 6 treasures if you have Negan in play. What the baloney? It is time for your win cons. Of course, we have Revel in Riches and Kite Tyrant that says, you win the game, you know, big brain plays. Remember Turgrid, she has the same ability than It That Betrays. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a Dawn token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. Besides being an 11/11 Annihilator to Eldrazi,
Suck my nuts!
you can literally steal everyone's board with these cards and flat out win the game, depending on the board state. Marionette Master, amazing with treasures, 6 mana, 1/3, fabricate 3. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So drop this and sack all your treasures, a wombo that's very hard to beat unless you counterspell her. Once it hits the battlefield, it's GG, machine gun treasures, ra-ta-ta-ta-ta.
I'm gonna keep you breathing for a few years just so you can stew on it.
And Torment of Hellfire. Listen, you don't know what to play to finish the game, play this. It's easy and effective. You just need a lot of mana or treasures. And the final card, whether you like it or not, you have to play it, Lucille. 2 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has a menace. Whenever equipped creature attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature. If they do, you create a walker token. Slam this on Negan and smash faces.
Now look at him. Bow!
Thanks for watching.